Y'all need to help Stephen Phillips out over there. Out the door and off the radio.
Here's Stephen Phillips.
All righty, folks, we're back with you, and I'm excited to know if y'all have missed Billy the Kid, you cannot miss anymore because he is back with a vengeance, got a new album out, The Rest of It's Mine. Billy Dean, good morning. How are you, brother?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. How you guys doing this morning?
Yeah, we ain't sitting on the beach somewhere in Florida with our feet kicked back.
I highly recommend it, man. We see a lot of Georgia tags down here.
I know that. Yeah, we see a lot of Florida tags up here, so we'll trade with you.
I tell you what, man, it was we happened to buy this place down on St. George right before the pandemic, and of course I'm from this area,
right?
And we were quarantined down here, which is why, sitting here, you can't help but write about the beach, when you're sitting down for a year. Around the island here, and it kind of birthed this album. Got me thinking, man. There are a lot of people feels this way, about hey, why not go ahead and come on down to Florida and retire now, or come on down and take it easy now and start living your life instead of working it away all the time.
Hey, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. You got the new album out, and I'm gonna tell you, Billy, this album is absolutely fantastic from top to bottom. I mean, this is absolutely. You got one song here that you and Paul Overstreet done together. The Rest of It's Mine, man. How did that all come together?
Man, we had a show in Key West, and I decided to drive to Key West. I had never done it, and everybody flies down. I thought, I'm going to drive this, man, take the drive in, and all these RV parks that I passed. These couples were out there. You could just tell they were empty nesters. You could tell they had their bicycles, their kayaks. You could just tell they were kind of. Some of these guys they have $500,000 rigs parked in these RV parks, and I'm like, man, these folks have done taken their money out of the bank. They kicked kids out of the house.
Yeah,
and they went down to Camping World.
Exactly, and just they're living life. And I told Paul, I was texting him. I said, "Man, I sure would like to write a song for this crowd here. For the empty nesters, the guys, people who kind of maybe beat the man by retiring a little bit early or whatever." And so he texted me back a whole chorus. The rest of it's mine. The rest of it's mine. I'm gonna write it out here where the sun always shines. And I couldn't believe it. We'd known each other for 30 years, but we'd never written together.
Right.
And so I just pulled over and started working on a verse and sent him back a verse. We didn't even sit in the same room when we were writing this thing. We were texting each other back and forth. And the next time I saw him after we played our little gig was in the studio where we recorded it, because he's the one who kind of told me about this, this kind of trop rock movement that was happening in Florida that was really driven by a lot of the local musicians.
Right.
And that's what I used to be. I used to be a local Florida musician here, just, a guy returning back to his Florida roots, really.
I've never heard that term, trop rock.
I think it's like tropical cowboys or something, man. And Paul's doing a lot of that, and it's absolutely. I love it. I love the whole album and some of the songs. The rest of it's mine is absolutely. That's a gold right there. I would think. But you go on. I'm sitting there thinking about you got the one, The Laziest Man Alive. I'm thinking, dang, you must know me.
I have to say, man, I think I read somewhere. Mark Twain had that as a saying. He said, I think it was like his ultimate goal was to be the laziest man alive. And when I read that, I went, honestly, that's what I've been working so hard so I could be the laziest man alive. Yeah. That was kind of I call that my COVID-19 song, man. I had all these ambitions, all these things I thought, I'll get all this stuff done if I'm home. If I could, I was blaming so much of my, lack of following up and following through based on touring all the time. And here, all of a sudden, I find myself having a year off because of 2020,
right,
thinking I would get all these projects done. Man, I didn't do anything. I got my kayak out.
Yeah.
I went out and fished, out on the bay. I was like, I got nothing done. And I thought, man, I think I've accomplished the Mark Twain goal here.
There you go. Yep. Folks, we're talking to Billy Dean. Go to BillyDean.com. Check out all the stuff. Check out this brand new album he's got out. And there's not a bad song on it. I know a lot of musicians, they put a few good ones and then they put some culls in there. I don't know any song on here that you've not, and I'm not just saying that, Billy. I'm not trying to be nice. I'm a music guy from get-go. I've listened to it, played it, and we've got a little old band we play, and I know music, and the beat and the music and the words to these songs is unreal. And I love the one where nobody knows my name, and that is my theme. When I go on vacation, I want to go where nobody knows my name, because we always go down like Mexico Beach or Cape San Blas. It's like the forgotten coast, Because, it's embarrassing when you're laying out there on the beach naked and your 8th grade teacher walks up and, Stephen Phillips,
I listened to you on the radio. I listened to you on the radio just this morning.
I think, man, that is awesome. That is an.
So you reckon this is gonna? You reckon this is going to end up to be his 12th gold record, right?
I think so, yeah.
Well, it's definitely a side of me that nobody's really, heard, I guess you could say, musically. And it's, I've sung about, faith, family, and the flag, man. That's always been my, kind of my themes, growing up in the country music business. A lot of themes about, childhood, inner child, you keep that young kid inside you. First album was Young Man, and everything from Billy the Kid to Men Will Be Boys to Let 'Em Be Little. And I felt like, I still have that little inner kid in me. And it's kind of, if I have a philosophy in anything in my music, it's never grow up, man.
Right.
Don't never grow old, never grow up. But this is definitely a little bit of a side of me. It's a fun side. I didn't want to have anything too heavy and too serious. I wanted people to be able to put this album on and sit on the beach, and just, get away from, just take a mental vacation for a little bit from how crazy this world is getting, and just wanted to give them a break from it. So hopefully it'll, so far it's been really received well, and thank you guys for really listening to it and giving it some, shedding a little light on here, man. I really do appreciate it.
Well, no, man, I'm all about the music, and it's so hard nowadays because all this bro country stuff they've got to actually have good country music, because I love country. I growed up with all that, and and it's just it's like a breath of fresh air. And I know it's tropical country or whatever they want to say, but it's got that feel good. I mean, I know feel good beat. The music is just awesome. I mean, I don't know who set the arrangement up, if you did that, but on most of these, one of the lines in the songs that being in the music business, you hear these songs, you think, dang, why didn't I think of that? But time flies when you're having rum. I mean, that is just awesome. I wish I could just go that one spot.
My wife, I heard her say that. We were in Panama City. We were coming out of Spinnakers, not Spinnakers, Schooners. We were coming out of a little bar of Schooners I used to play at.
I know Schooners.
And we'd had a couple of rum drinks, and the time kind of went by quick. Man, she said that, and I looked back at her and I thought, if that's not already in a song, we're going to put that. I got to put that down right now. So we wanted to, write a lot of songs for these guys and girls who are out there, busting at 9 to 5 like my son's doing these days. He's making his way in the world, and he's got a good job, and he's strapped down, for for on that telephone. He's all day long. Wanted people to be able to just sit back and think about taking this trip down here, to North Florida. It's such a beautiful area, as you guys know, and we call it the Forgotten Coast, and we want you want it to kind of stay that way, but you also want good people coming down here. We got a lot of good folks coming from Georgia down here that, good fishermen and people that bring their economy down here, which we really needed it after the quarantine, after 2020. In fact, I did 40 shows on my deck during the quarantine of the Billy Dean Happy Hour, just to kind of keep my chops going, and we had a great time doing it. And it really gave us the idea to keep that mentality going, in this album. So it's my first album in about 10 years. I've actually had 10 new songs on there, So I appreciate you putting an ear on it, man. And I'm glad it's working for you.
I mean, honestly, it's a cool tune. It's a cool tune. Now, it's your son. I mean, you come out with this album, and your boys out there in the music business, like, come on, Dad, let me have that album. Let me do that album.
I run a lot of stuff by him. He's got really great musical taste. A couple of weeks ago, I was on the Grand Ole Opry. I hadn't played the Grand Ole Opry in a long time, and I was saying, hey man, I'm thinking about doing Saltwater Cowboy. Do you think it's too much or too edgy? I kind of want to play the guitar in the first part of it, And I just sat in his living room and kind of performed it. And he goes, man, you got to do it. You got to do it. So we did. It had a really great response at the Opry there, and that's kind of really what I left Florida, man. When I left Florida, I was, that's the kind of music I was playing. I got to Nashville. Of course, I've always loved, country music. My dad had a country music band. Right. North Florida is a crossroads of all kinds of music: Southern rock, Southern gospel, traditional country, Buffett stuff. It's just a crossroads of all that music right up here in this panhandle. And so there's a little bit of all of that in this album, flavored with a little bit of the country. It's kind of Bellamy Brothers, Eddie Raven. Eddie Raven kind of had this sound back in the day. The Bellamy Brothers kind of had this sound, and I studied a lot of that. And Paul Overstreet just kind of helped me direct into that area, because he had an album called Somewhere in the Caribbean, and so he said, man, you gotta kind of follow suit. We get this little thing going, and we'll work a lot in Florida.
Well, he's that's a good album too. Of course, he's got a little island down there. I think he's living on now, so he's definitely down in the place. But I'm like, when we vacation, man, that's where we go. We go to Mexico Beach. I love that. Indian Pass Raw Bar, man, that is the place to go.
Yeah.
Oh man,
the prettiest sand is in the Panhandle.
Yeah, I love it.
What's that?
The prettiest sand is in the Panhandle. So, Billy, did you ever drift towards the middle of the state, like Silver Spurs Rodeo or any of the cowboy action in Central Florida? Like back when you were a kid?
Bit.
Yeah.
Well, when we were little, everybody went north. They went up to the they went to Georgia, Atlanta, Stone Mountain. That was about as far as we got, on vacation when we were growing up. But I got a lot of friends in the cattle business in Central Florida, which a lot of people don't realize. Florida is like the second leading, cattle country, in next to Texas, I think. And there was a lot, when you grow up in Florida, and flip flops and shorts, and all the time, you dream about being a cowboy. That's why I wrote Billy the Kid about riding our bicycles and shooting the bad guys to the handlebars. When you grow up in Florida, you dream of the mountains, and you dream of kind of being a cowboy, and which is what I wanted to go to Nashville and do that kind of music. But coming back, I never thought I'd come back to Florida. I thought Nashville. My kids were in Nashville, Music City. I thought I'd never leave there. And my mom's 93 years old, and my sisters live down here, and they've been working with her, and she needed some help, and my sisters needed help. And I thought, they inducted me into the Florida Artist Hall of Fame. And when that happened, it moved me so much that I thought, it's time to go home, man.
Yeah.
And so I did, and it's great, because it's a lot of people grow up in this business. Like Winona Judd's a good friend of mine. She's been a star since she was 18 years old. Yeah. And I tell her all the time, this didn't happen to me until I was 28, 29 years old. I'd established an adult life, before I ever had a music career. Right. And I always told her, I said, don't let your career be your life. I said, my life is, I'm Stephanie's husband, and I'm Eli and Hannah's dad, you know, and I go to work as a country music singer and songwriter. So that's what this place does for me. It reminds me of my life before all of that, where my high school buddies are here, and they could care less what show I've been on or what,
you're just Billy. Yeah, you're Billy. Yeah, I know how that
They're going to bust my chops no matter what. So,
Lord of mercy.
It's really great.
BillyDean.com. Go check out this brand new album. You can get it all right there. You can order one signed record. These ain't just CDs or anything like that. He's got signed records. You can get it right there at BillyDean.com. Wow. The new record is The Rest of It's Mine. Y'all have got to check this out. Billy, we have got to get on. We got to.
All right, buddy.
But man, thank you so much. And like I said, we love your album. Love your coming out. You're like the laziest man alive. But I think with this album, you're not going to be. You're going to be a busy man.
Thank you guys so much for giving me so much time. I hope y'all have a great morning show here. And if I ever do anything, call me up. In the meantime, make a trip down there to Florida. Come see us.
Man, you take care. Thank you for spending a little time with us. And remember, you can tune in every morning at WJULradio.com at 8 a.m. Eastern. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook, The Morning Dish.